It always starts as a flicker, a vague image, a feeling, a sudden scene that plays behind your eyes when the world gets quiet. Maybe it comes to you late at night, or when you're stuck in traffic, or while staring blankly at the ceiling after a long day. It's not fully formed yet, just a whisper of something more, but it's here, a dream. Where do these dreams come from? Some say they're fragments of memory or desire, little echoes of who we were or who we wish we could become. Others believe they're planted by something deeper, the soul's compass, nudging us toward a future we haven't yet dared to claim. Maybe it's both. Maybe it doesn't matter. What matters is that something in you noticed it. That flicker became a spark, and now you're wondering if it could become real. Dreams are funny that way. They're fragile at first, easy to dismiss, to laugh off, to bury under practicality. You tell yourself it's just a fantasy. You wouldn't even say it out loud to anyone. Not yet, not until you're sure it's allowed to grow. But every dream that's ever changed life, yours or anyone else's, started small and exactly this way. A thought, a tug, a question. The real question is, do you trust yourself enough to follow it? Because dreams don't shout. They don't push. They wait. They wait for you to get still enough to hear them. They wait for you to believe they matter. They wait for you to stop asking for permission. And when you do, when you start to hold the dream gently like a seed, you begin to notice how it shifts your attention. Suddenly, you're more curious, more sensitive to possibilities. You start recognizing things that align with this quiet vision. Books, conversations, signs, even strange coincidences. It's like life starts rearranging itself ever so slightly. But none of that happens until you honor the seed. You have to protect it in the beginning. Not everyone will understand, and that's okay. Dreams are personal things. They don't need a crowd to be real. They just need you. So if you've ever had a vision that felt like more than just daydreaming, if something keeps returning to your mind, gentle but persistent, maybe it's not just a passing thought. Maybe it's the beginning of something. Maybe it's the seed of a life you're meant to grow into. And maybe, just maybe, you're ready. Close your eyes for a moment. Picture yourself doing something you've always wanted. Maybe standing on a stage, opening your dream studio, walking through a city you've never been to but somehow feel drawn to. You feel it, don't you? Not just as a thought, but as something deeper, a sensation, a shift. Your breathing slows, your body responds. In that instant, your mind doesn't just imagine it, it begins to believe it. This is the power of mental imagery, and it's more than just a daydream. You see, your brain doesn't fully distinguish between something vividly imagined and something actually experienced. Neurologically speaking, rehearsing success in your mind activates many of the same regions as doing the real thing. Athletes have known this for years, musicians too, surgeons, even astronauts. Visualization isn't wishful thinking, it's preparation. It's a way of becoming familiar with the unfamiliar, of teaching your mind this is possible, this is mine. But it goes even deeper than that. When you visualize with clarity and emotion, you start to carve mental pathways, trails your thoughts naturally follow. It changes how you see the world around you. It opens your awareness to opportunities and decisions that move you closer to what you've imagined. Some call this the reticular activating system at work. Others call it alignment or manifestation. Different names, same principle. What you focus on begins to shape the map your mind navigates by. And yet, many of us don't take our inner images seriously. We dismiss them or only use them to rehearse fear, imagining all the ways something might go wrong. What if we reverse that? What if we use the same vividness we use for worrying to paint something beautiful instead? Here's a quiet truth. The mind is always imagining. The only real choice is whether you let it do so unconsciously or deliberately. So, the next time your dream steers you in again, don't just observe it like a movie playing on a distant screen. Step into it, walk around in it. Notice the textures, the sounds, the light. Who are you in this dream? How do you carry yourself? What does your face look like when you realize it's real? Don't rush this. Don't reduce it to a vision board or a checklist. Let it become a feeling, a memory from the future, a truth you're growing into. Because before you can live your dream in the world, you have to learn to live it in the mind. Dreams often begin as a blur, shapeless, shimmering, and full of feeling. They carry heat, not detail. You don't always know what they mean yet. You just know they matter. But at some point, if you truly want to move toward them, you need to bring them into focus. Because a dream without clarity can become a mirage, forever tempting, always out of reach. This is the quiet work few people talk about, turning a dream from something romantic into something real, not less magical, but more grounded, more yours. So what does clarity actually look like? It's when your vision becomes so specific that it stops being hypothetical and starts being directional. You're not just saying, I want to be free. You're saying, I want to build a life where I wake up without dread, do meaningful work, and end my day with joy in my chest. You're not just dreaming of success. You're envisioning what success feels like in your body, who you're with, where you live, what your days are made of. Clarity doesn't shrink your dream, it gives it legs. It allows you to filter out the noise, because now not everything shiny applies to you. Now, you're less likely to compare your journey to someone else's, because you've defined your own destination, and you've done it in your language, not in borrowed metaphors or trends. This process requires honesty. You'll have to ask yourself, what do I truly want? What part of this dream is mine, and what part is inherited or expected? What am I afraid to admit that I want? These are vulnerable questions, but they're not sacred, because clarity isn't about making your dream impressive. It's about making it true. And here's the beautiful thing. When you get clear, your energy sharpens. People can feel it. The right opportunities start to recognize you. Your nose becomes stronger. Your yes becomes rooted. And your dream, it starts to shift from an escape to a direction. So take your time. Sit with it. Let the fog lift. Define it in a way that only you could. And once your dream is no longer just a feeling, but a vision with shape and edges, you'll know what to do next. Because clarity doesn't just help you see the path, it helps the path see you. Belief is the bridge between vision and reality. Without it, you're left standing on one side of the canyon, staring across at the life you want, but unable to step toward it. You wait, you hesitate, you call it procrastination or bad timing or a lack of resources. But often, the real reason is quieter, more personal. You just don't believe you're allowed to cross. It's not your fault. We've all inherited stories about what's realistic, about what people like us can and can't do, about how much joy we're allowed before something bad happens. Some of these beliefs run so deep, we don't even notice them. We call them personality or practicality, but really, they're walls. And dreams don't live well inside these walls. Belief doesn't mean blind optimism. It doesn't mean pretending everything will work out exactly as you hope. It means trusting yourself enough to begin. Trusting that you'll learn, that you'll adapt, that you're capable of becoming the version of you who can walk this path, even if you're not there yet. Here's something most people won't tell you. Belief isn't something you either have or don't. It's something you practice. You practice it every time you say yes to something that scares you. Every time you take a small step even while doubting yourself. Every time you refuse to shrink. Some days, belief will feel like a whisper. Other days, like a full body fire. But every time you choose to believe, even a little, you stretch the bridge further. You make it more real. And eventually, the dream that once felt distant won't just be something you see. It'll be something you stand inside of. So when doubt visits, and it will, don't try to outrun it. Acknowledge it, but don't hand it the keys. Because belief doesn't require certainty, only movement. And with each step, you're teaching the world and yourself that this dream deserves a place to live. Enjoying the journey so far? Click on that subscribe button and like the video. And together, let's make our dreams a reality. There comes a point where dreaming is no longer enough. You've imagined it, named it, and started to believe in it. But if the dream is to become real, it can't just live in your mind anymore. It has to start living in your body. This is what it means to embody the dream. Not to wait for some future version of yourself to show up, but to begin acting, choosing, and responding as if you're already living that truth. It's not about faking it, it's about becoming it. You begin with subtle shifts. You speak about your goals, how you carry yourself when you walk into a room, what kind of energy you protect, what kind of people you welcome, and what kind of behaviors you no longer tolerate. Not out of arrogance, but out of alignment. Your actions begin to reflect the version of you that already exists in this vision. Think of it like a musician practicing scales for a concert they haven't booked yet, or a painter arranging their studio for the work they haven't painted yet. There's a kind of sacred pretending involved, but it's not delusion, it's preparation, it's respect for what's coming. And here's the truth no one can deny. Your body keeps score. The way you breathe, how you sit, how you show up to routines or rituals, all of it teaches your nervous system what's normal. So if you treat your dream like a distant fantasy, your body will keep living like it's not yours. But if you begin to show up to it, show up for it, then slowly, your entire system begins to recognize this new identity as home. And yes, you'll be met with friction. There will be days when you slip back into old habits, days when your current reality feels miles away from what you're trying to create. But embodiment doesn't mean perfection, it means consistency. It means showing up again, even if yesterday was a mess. It means making the future version of you feel less like a stranger and more like a memory that's arriving. You can't just think your way into a new life. At some point, you have to walk like it, eat like it, speak like it, create like it, and rest like it. Not because you're pretending, but because you're becoming. Once you begin to embody your dream, something strange starts to happen. The world shifts, not always dramatically, often in subtle, almost imperceptible ways. A chance encounter, a delayed email that suddenly arrives, a book that seems to find you, not the other way around. It can feel uncanny, almost too coincidental to be coincidence. But maybe it's not coincidence at all. Maybe it's the mirror effect. You see, reality often reflects back what we quietly believe about ourselves. Not just what we say we believe, but what we truly carry. Our expectations, our fears, our sense of worth. And when those internal patterns begin to shift, the signals we send out shift too. We become different to the world, even if we look the same. People respond to us differently. Opportunities start to feel less forced, more fluid. Even resistance, when it comes, feels like a signpost rather than a stop sign. It's tempting to call this magic, but maybe it's more like resonance, like tuning forks, vibrating at the same frequency across a room. Your dream, when truly lived and believed, sends out a frequency. It doesn't guarantee ease. It doesn't mean everything will go your way. But it does mean the world will begin to organize itself around your presence. You'll start to notice the patterns you once missed. You'll catch the red flags earlier. You'll move toward the yeses that matter and away from the noise. This mirror isn't always flattering. Sometimes what it shows you is discomfort, a job that no longer fits, a relationship that holds you back, old identities that crumble as you outgrow them. These moments can feel like the dream is slipping, but really, it's a sign that the reflection is clearing, that what no longer serves the dream is being asked to step aside. Because the truth is, once you truly commit to your dream, it's not just in words, but in how you live. The universe listens. Or maybe it always was. The mirror just needed you to stop fogging it up with doubt. So pay attention, not just to what's happening, but to how it's happening. Notice the echoes, the repetitions, the way small things seem to align when you least expect them. You're not imagining it. You're watching your inner world speak and reality beginning to answer. There's a point in every pursuit when the momentum slows. The excitement fades. You've done the visioning, the planning, the work, and yet nothing seems to be happening. It's in these quiet, uncertain moments that doubt creeps in. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I'm not cut out for this. Maybe the dream wasn't real. But what if this stretch, this pause, this waiting is not a failure, but a necessary part of the process? Because no matter how clear your dream or how aligned your energy, reality has its own tempo. Life unfolds with rhythms we can't always control. There are lessons we can't rush, timing we can't dictate, and often, just when we think we're ready, the world gently disagrees. This is not punishment, this is preparation. Doubt, in its own way, is a mirror too. It shows you where your belief still wavers. It reveals the parts of the dream that were still tied to ego, to validation, to quick results. And when you face it, when you sit in that uncomfortable silence without abandoning your path, you grow roots. You develop a kind of quiet strength that doesn't need applause. You learn to act without always seeing immediate proof. You become resilient not just in momentum, but in stillness. And delay is not always a no. Sometimes it's a not yet. Sometimes the world is rearranging behind the scenes in ways you can't yet perceive. Sometimes you're being protected from a version of your dream that wasn't quite right. And sometimes you're simply being asked to deepen your commitment. You keep showing up. You refine the vision, not out of panic, but with love. You rest when you need to. You listen for what the pause might be teaching you. And above all, you resist the urge to shrink your dream just because it hasn't arrived yet. Because this stretch, this test of your patience, your trust, your heart, is not the end of the story. It's the shaping of the version of you who will be ready for it when it finally arrives. There's a moment, sometimes so quiet you don't even notice it, when something shifts. You no longer feel like you're chasing your dream. You're not striving for it, reaching for it, proving yourself to it. Instead, you look around and realize you are it. Not because everything on the outside is perfect or complete. Not because you've made it in the way people often define success, but because the dream you once held like a distant star now lives in your choices, your voice, your way of being. It has become part of your texture, your rhythm, your truth. This is the real transformation, when the dream stops being something out there and instead becomes something you carry. You no longer wait for a perfect moment. You no longer need to explain your path. You simply move through the world as someone who knows why they're here. This doesn't mean everything is easy. Life will still be life. Doubt will still whisper. Challenges won't vanish. But your center is different now. You respond from alignment, not fear. From trust, not urgency. You've stopped performing the dream. You're simply living it. And in doing so, you realize something profound. The dream was never just about the outcome. It was about who you had to become in order to hold it. All those steps, the imagining, the believing, the practicing, the waiting, they weren't detours. They were initiations. They shaped the version of you who could live a life that used to feel like a fantasy. And now, you're living proof that the intangible can become tangible. That what begins as a flicker in the heart can shape an entire life. That a human being with doubt and flaws and fears can still create something meaningful simply by refusing to give up on what felt true. So keep dreaming, keep becoming, because the next dream may already be whispering to you. And now, you know how to listen.